Today's game will mark the 6th time these NFC Central rivals have played each other in the last 2 years. Last year, they met in the wild card game in a seesaw battle that came down to the final minute. Green Bay won that game, but today they will be without injured All-Pro receiver Sterling Sharpe on ABC's Wild Card Saturday. And welcome to a doubleheader on ABC's Wild Card Saturday. First from Green Bay, it's the Packers and Detroit Lions. Then at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, we switch to Joe Robbie Stadium, the AFC wildcard game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Miami Dolphins. Welcome to our studios in New York. I'm John Saunders, joined today by Boomer Esiason, the quarterback for the New York Jets. Thanks for being with us.
My pleasure, John. Happy New Year. It's going to be a great New Year in 2 of these NFL cities after today's over.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you and to yours. The celebration will begin a little bit early today for some of these teams. Let's take a look at how they got to the playoffs and who is there exactly. In the NFC, the schedule breaks down like this. 4 of the 6 teams from the NFC Central, San Francisco and Dallas receiving the byes. NFC wildcard games begin today with Green Bay hosting Detroit, as we told you, right here on ABC. That's coming up at 12:30. Chicago travels to Minnesota tomorrow at 4. The AFC playoffs worked out like this. Pittsburgh and San Diego getting the byes. Miami, Cleveland, New England, and Kansas City rounding out the field. The AFC wildcard playoffs also start today. The Chiefs and the Dolphins right here on ABC at 4 o'clock. Tomorrow, it's the Patriots heading to Cleveland to take on the Browns. Divisional playoff action kicks off on January the 7th. Pittsburgh and San Francisco hosting games on the 8th. Dallas and San Diego are the hosts. Championship games are scheduled for the following week on January 15th. ABC will cover the Super Bowl. This is a reminder, played on January 29th. Pregame coverage beginning at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. As we mentioned, 2 games for you here today. We have 2 reports, beginning with Brent Musburger, who's standing by in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Brent.
John, Happy New Year to you and Boomer. As you can see in Lambeau Field, folks, it's a balmy Saturday afternoon here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. 30 degrees, no snow as was predicted. And welcome, everybody. I want to give you a story on the Green Bay Packers. I don't want to over-dramatize this. I don't want you to make too much out of it, but this did happen. Brett Favre did not practice with the Packers yesterday. About 4 years ago, Brett Favre was involved in a very serious automobile accident. He underwent major stomach surgery. Ever since then, unexpectedly, he will undergo pain in his stomach, intense pain. He believes that down the road he may have to undergo further surgery. As a result, he did not work out yesterday with the Packers. Feels better today. He's ready to go. He's the starting quarterback. Now, there was another major story unfolding in Green Bay earlier in the week. Sterling Sharpe lost to the Packers for the playoffs, and perhaps, well, who knows? Let's go down as we welcome the newest member of the ABC Sports family, Lesley Visser, to our team. Lesley, Happy New Year, and I know that you have seen Sterling earlier today.
I did. Thank you, Brent. I am thrilled to be here. Well, Brent, as you know, Sterling Sharpe has been playing the best ball of his career, but now it may be the end of his career. I spoke with him a little while ago. He said he's going to solicit the opinions of 5 or 6 doctors before going forward. Well, the Packers surgeon, Dr. Patrick McKenzie, said this is not an emergency situation, but they would like him to get the operation to fuse the 2 bones in his neck, the vertebrae, within the next 2 or 3 weeks. I spoke yesterday with Green Bay Packer Hall of Famer Paul Hornung, and he told me he's been trying to reach Sterling Sharpe because he said this is the exact same injury that forced him to retire from the NFL. Brent?
All right, Lesley, thank you. Game 2 on ABC is a dandy. Miami against Kansas City. Let's go to Frank Gifford now for a preview.
Thank you very much, Brent, and I don't care what anyone says. I really like that ad. Happy New Year to you and all of our staff, bringing you the 2 wild cards. And the second half of our matchup today is a great game. The Kansas City Chiefs take on the Miami Dolphins. They met only 3 weeks ago. Behind Dan Marino, the Miami Dolphins prevailed in that one 45-28. But make no mistake about it, Joe Montana did not play then. He's going to play today, and this game is the story of 2 quarterbacks. They first met 10 years ago in Super Bowl 19. It was Dan Marino's second season, while Joe Montana had already won a Super Bowl and an MVP award. Marino had some big numbers that day. Montana's were bigger. The 49ers won 38-16. Over the next 10 years, the 2 of us all in the NFL record book in furious style. Marino with his incredible arm, and an offense designed by Don Shula. Joe Montana went on to win 2 more Super Bowls, and with his style and grace is one of the world's most admired athletes. Let's take a look at the numbers. They are truly remarkable. Between them, over 7,000 completions, more than 85,000 yards, and more than 600 touchdowns. But it's in postseason play, however, that Joe Montana with the great 49er teams has excelled, and Marino has come up short. So today, the Super Bowl quest will continue for both future Hall of Famers. Marino looking for his first, Montana his 5th Super Bowl title. Okay, let's go back to New York. John Saunders. John?
Okay, Frank, thanks a lot. And Boomer, you know exactly how Dan Marino feels. You've been there, you've been to a Super Bowl, but have not yet returned. What's it like, the sense of urgency?
Well, there's no question that he's frustrated. You know, last year at this time, they were worrying about his career, whether or not it would have been over. Now he finds himself 3 games away from the Super Bowl, playing against the nemesis for all us AFC quarterbacks, Joe Montana. He wants it very badly.
Dan Marino trying to get back to the Super Bowl. Of course, there's another quarterback who's playing tomorrow who's looking to get to the Super Bowl for the first time. He's won 5 championships. They happen north of the border, trying to get one south of the border this time around. I'm talking, of course, about Warren Moon, the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings. That and more, and Bill Parcells looks for another title for New England. Last bump to Green Bay. Now the games tomorrow, 2 of them coming up in the wild card. We have 2 previews. First, let's join Peter King of Sports Illustrated.
John, the big story here is the injury status of 38-year-old Minnesota quarterback Warren Moon. 2 weeks ago, he suffered the first knee injury in a 17-year pro career. I asked Warren this morning if there's any chance he wouldn't play tomorrow.
I don't think so. I think the coaches have seen me practice, and they would make the decision, the final decision, whether I would play or not. But I think they've seen that I've thrown the ball, that I've looked pretty sharp, and they think that I can be effective. But Sean is there just in case, and he's had the other 30% of the snaps, so he's ready to go just in case I was either re-injure myself or wasn't effective early in the ball game.
2 more moonshots, John. The Vikings have been first-round playoff losers the last 2 years. They didn't bring Warren Moon here just to make the wild card round. And also, Moon frets about his place in football history. He's only a 3-6 lifetime playoff quarterback. For the Bears, it's another quarterback story. Steve Walsh has been ineffective the last 2 weeks, and Dave Wannstedt, their coach, told me this week he won't hesitate going with Eric Kramer if Walsh starts poorly tomorrow. That's it for Minneapolis. Let's go to Cleveland to my colleague Tim Brand. Tim?
Lombardi and Bart Starr is frozen in time. But there's a new torchbearer in Green Bay. His name, Brett Favre, and he plays quarterback like a linebacker. Favre was determined to ring out the old year at home.
We finally got what we wanted, and that's a playoff game at home. So with our fans here, our last opportunity until next year to win at home, we really got to take advantage of it. We feel like we're good enough now to make it to the Super Bowl, and if we don't make it, we'll be disappointed.
But Detroit is planning its own celebration. The Lions enter the NFL playoffs with one of the best running backs of all time. Number 20, Barry Sanders, plays a game of now you see me, now you don't. Ring in the new year with the Packers and the Lions. The road to the Super Bowl on ABC is underway.
Wild card fight. So get ready. I mean, get ready. Are you ready for some football? A big playoff party? Yeah, this is old Hank, and I'm back, and I'm ready to get this thing started. Get those helmets crashing, the crowd is fight. It's the NFL playoffs coming on. That's right.
And the party opens in Lambeau Field in Green Bay on a Saturday afternoon, a rematch of a wildly exciting playoff game a year ago, which was played in Pontiac and won by Green Bay 28-24 in the last minute. The weather so far is ideal. Well, Happy New Year, everybody. With Dick Vermeil, I'm Brent Musburger. Nice to have you along with us, Dick. I know that all the fans out there are well aware of the Sterling Sharp saga. They send along their best wishes to Sterling. They hope that that works out. On the football standpoint, how can the Packers replace a man who drives into a parking lot in a Porsche with go-to guy on the license plate? How do you replace that?
But what they're going to do, they're going to take their former starting split end, Robert Brooks, and move him to the flanker position. Now, he played that position all through training camp because Sterling was rehabbing an ankle injury. He played it well. Now, he's not a Sterling Sharp, but he's fast. He was a fine track man in college. He has his best year, 58 receptions. They have not changed the game plan in any way. The coaches have total confidence in him.
Now, on the other side, Barry Sanders, number 20. The weather is beautiful here today. How about Barry Sanders, though, outdoors off a carpet?
Well, I talked to Billy Matthews, Barry Sanders' running back coach, and he says it doesn't matter what service Barry runs on, the defenders don't play on it as well as he does. He did tell me the story about 3 years ago coming in here and playing on a frozen field, 29 below zero. He runs for 135 yards, scores the winning touchdown with 5 minutes to go in the ballgame.
Now, the quarterback, Dave Krieg. What about his situation?
Well, they say he plays with the enthusiasm of a rookie and with the great leadership and experience of a true veteran that he is. He has doubled the efficiency of the offense since he's taken over.
All right, Leslie Visser, how is Brett Favre feeling today? He missed practice yesterday.
Brett is not 100%. He told me a couple of minutes ago he's more like 80%. It's his lower right abdomen. He said it occurs this way about twice a year. It's extremely uncomfortable. As for the Lions, it's a big day for Dave Krieg. He grew up 60 miles from here. He fell in love with pro football by watching the Ice Bowl. He said it's symbolic that he'd be here 27 years later. Brent.
Leslie, thank you very much. And there is a story set to return because Brooks is the go-to wide receiver. They will use Charles Jordan back along with Corey Harris. Harris with a lot of experience. Jordan, a remarkable story, who has battled his way into the National Football League, and we'll detail that for you as the afternoon unfolds. Set to begin, one of the rule changes that was extremely significant is the fact that Jason Hanson and all the kickers have to kick it off from their own 30-yard line. It has brought back the return, and this one now, the foul will blow. But Dick Vermeil, it gives us an opportunity to talk about how the return is back on kickoffs in the NFL.
16 kickoff returns for touchdown this year. In the last 11 years, 9 was the most. The ratio went from 1 every 252 to 1 every 115. A dramatic change. They have shortened the field.
So for the time being, sort of everybody takes a deep breath and relaxes. They were all set for the explosion on the kickoff, and now they'll get all charged up again, and Hanson will bring it on. Underway in Lambeau Field, and they're going to make Jordan return it. Hit at the 24-yard line and down, where Brett Favre will go to work after that good tackle by Tracy Hayward. So here is Favre. 33 touchdown passes this year. A remarkable turnaround. Look at that ratio. As Boomer said, he should be headed to Hawaii. Reggie Cobb and Edgar Bennett are going to be workhorses today. The Packers must control that clock since they are without Sterling Sharp. The offensive line, well, in addition, number 62, Guy McIntyre, has played extremely well. Here's the first offensive play for Favre and the Packers. They'll throw with a short drop, complete, and they go to the tight end, Mark Chmura, on first down. Defensively, let's look at the Lions. They still use the 3-4. Mike Holmgren's passing game works awfully well against this defensive lineup. The 4 linebackers, and I want to tell you about a guy who's got as much desire as anyone in the history of this league. Number 54, Chris Spielman, a small linebacker with a huge heart. There's the defensive backs. They are going to be tested, especially Ryan McNeil today on that corner spot. Now they run Reggie Cobb, and I believe he is short of the first down with Robert Porcher making the stop.
Brent, Sherm Lewis, the offensive coordinator for Green Bay, said they wanted it game plan-wise to confuse them with formations and motion. The last time they played Detroit, they used 41 formations. different formations in 60-something snaps. They want to run the ball well enough to force them to respect the running game so they can throw that play-action pass, and then they want to go downfield. 90% of their passes have been 12 to 15 yards all year. They want to go downfield. There's Sherm Lewis right in the middle of your screen there with the glasses on. Excellent football coaching. Total control of this offense.
Now our officiating crew today, Gary Lane out here, and Mike Holmgren and the Packers staff ready to go here in Green Bay. There on the near side. Opposite him, Wayne Fonts. This is his 6th year as coach, under fire, which is normal for a head coach of the Detroit Lions, we should point out, but he has his team back in the playoffs. It is 3rd and very short after the measurement now. Reggie Cobb offset to Favre's right.
They like to quarterback sneak when they spread out like this, Brent. They're not going to. They're going to
throw for it, and they've got it underneath, and that's the guy we expect to see, Robert Brooks, and they will line him up and use him in the Sterling Sharpe position much of this game.
Mike Holmgren, the head football coach of Green Bay, has a big game card, and on there he always had a section that said Sterling Sharpe, ways to get him the ball. The only difference now, he just changed the name on the top of that game plan card.
Now it's 1st and 10 for Favre and the Packers. The ball is at the Green Bay 37-yard line. Play fake is beautiful. Offensive line does its job, and he snaps off another one to this one to Anthony Morgan with Robert Massey with coverage. Let's talk about number 81 here, Dick. Anthony Morgan, where he's from, what they can get out of Anthony today.
Well, he came out of the University of Tennessee as a draft choice from Chicago. He played there a few years. He caught 27 balls. He was the number 5 pick. He's been with these people. Right now, he has a little calf muscle problem, and they have that concern.
Now, Massey, who made the stop, is shaken up, and he is down. You can see Morgan. Massey was a little soft. Favre zipped it into him, and while Massey's being tended to, we'll take a timeout. 8 years, but he's filling some big shoes right now of Robert Massey, and certainly the Lions defensive coaches hope to get Massey back in that lineup as soon as they can. 2nd down and 2 now for Favre and Green Bay. Opening series of the game. Now Edgar Bennett sweeping to the right, gets turned and gets the 1st down before he's ridden out of bounds by Ryan McNeil. ABC Sports exclusive coverage of the NFC wildcard playoff game, brought to you by the totally new Ford Contour, a world car for the 21st century. Bud Bull 7. This year, it's going to be a whole new ball game. And Southwest Airlines. It's just plain smart to fly Southwest, the low-fare airline. 1st and 10, the Packers march into Detroit territory to the Lions' 47-yard line. Favre has been perfect so far. Packers elect to keep it in the air on 1st down, and he's still perfect, and Brooks beats McNeil for that catch. Beautiful grab by Brooks.
Very tight coverage by Ryan McNeil. Because Green Bay runs so many short patterns, defenders, I noticed on tape, Brent, tend to squat, meaning they get about 12 to 15 yards deep, and they don't go any deeper. Green Bay is going to have to challenge these people deep, either run by them or an out and up move, a double move, and I expect them to do it soon.
Fans who watched Detroit lose to Miami did not see much pressure on Dan Marino that night. 2nd and 2. The Lions now have to search for a big play from the defense. Reggie Cobb stood up in the middle. Robert Porcher, the defender there on the ground, number 91.
Curt Patera, the defensive coordinator for Detroit, said he can't afford to blitz or play much man against these guys because in the last ball game they got picked twice for touchdowns, and he didn't want to get that allow that to happen again. He says he won't play much tight coverage.
Dick, let me ask you this. Holmgren told us yesterday that this they're going to measure here, and while we got a moment, he told us yesterday this short passing game that Bill Walsh really took to the next level. is very good against the 3-4 that Detroit uses. Why is that so? The fan would be curious as to why does Walsh's system work against the 3-4?
When they originally put the package together, when he took over the 49er situation, more teams were playing the 30 front, the 3 down linemen, 4 linebackers, and gradually the 4 down linemen. And this is why you get your whole pass protection scheme, your pattern scheme working on 4 linebackers, and that's why it's more effective.
First down after the measurement. Reggie Cobb sweeping to the left. Reggie Cobb has been in the eyes of Packer observers a disappointment this year. Now the Packers will tell you, the propagandists will tell you, well, he's only a 7 or an 8 yard runner. But they were looking for a lot more when they picked up Reggie Cobb. They were looking for a game breaker, and Packer fans know that the one thing this offense is going to need in the next couple of years is a running back to step in here, somebody who can bust a play. Edgar Bennett has become a sensational receiver, and if you were ever to use a screen pass and get him in the game, you might want to be thinking about it along about now. 2nd and 9 now. He's looking for Bennett, throws it, he's got it. Bennett's out of bounds inside the 30-yard line, showing you what he has always been able to do ever since his days with Bobby Bowden at Florida State.
Herb Patera went with a nickel defense. They went man-to-man that time, and that's why they were linebacker on back out of the backfield, singled up. Tight coverage. They get the ball off quickly, throw it to the outside here as you'll see the ball coming right at you. Good coverage position. They're just right there, but the perfect throw wide to the outside, and great hands demonstrated by Edgar Bennett. 78 catches coming into this ball game.
The one thing that Holmgren has taught Favre is how to throw with touch. 5 for 5, and he's become so much more effective with a short pass. Now he's looking at a 3rd and short. Favre now waits, gets the hit, gets it to Reggie Cobb. First down, Cobb inside to the 12-yard line. An impressive throw by Favre, who was under pressure that time, and Mack was on the corner, and it's an 18-yard game as Mack on the blitz got in on number 4.
They got the pressure on him, but the coverage by Greg Jeffries was not quite tight enough. Blitz coming after him. The S State get the heat. Spielman's coming up inside. They pick it up nicely there. Outside, he gets a hit right there. The ball to the right side of your screen. One-on-one situation. Running back runs out of Jeffries' tackle. Now nobody else to pick up because they're all playing man-to-man, and Massey makes the play.
And Massey returned 2 plays ago, we are told, and now on first down, this is Edgar Bennett, slips the first man, and he has stood up there at about the 14-yard line, 2 or 3 yards on the game.
Excellent blocking there, Brent, by Eddie West. They ran outside a little while ago, and he blocked Broderick Thomas. He did it again. If your tight end can block the strong outside linebacker, you are going to run successfully. This is what I'm talking about right here. A linebacker cannot allow this to happen. This is the 2nd time it's happened. He's doing a real nice job of knocking him off the ball. That's Chimura, 89, not the most devastating blocker, but doing a good job there.
12th play of the opening drive coming.
Packers are very, very efficient in the red zone. 3rd best team in the NFL.
Favre incomplete. Ed West, the intended receiver in the end zone, and Favre.
Spielman will defensive football anyway. This time he didn't even see it. He just got his body in the way of it. Coming across, number 54. He picks him up to left side of your screen. Watch the ball hit him right in the back. He's defensing that man all the way. He doesn't see the ball hit him in the back. He doesn't care. He just wants to prevent the score. Boy, is he an intense guy. A wonderful guy to visit with if you want to talk football.
And now on 3rd down, Favre straight back, fires underneath, and Bennett to the 2-yard line.
See, that's what you can do now in pro football where you couldn't do before. Teams play more zone down here. That allows you to run that late check down out of the backfield in front of linebackers and then try to power into the end zone.
Now it's close enough for a measurement. They're going to bring the chains out. And Holmgren, when he was looking at his play chart, I don't think he's even considering the field goal if it comes up short here. Let's see what happens as the chains are coming out. Maybe the assistants upstairs have told him they've got it. And he was looking at what he wants to do on the first down. It is so close. Oh, is that close?
I think he'll go for it. Here comes in the big guys.
This is huge here. You wonder, would Vince Lombardi have put up a field goal right now, the first points? Dorsey Levens checks in with Bennett. He's their only other healthy running back. Number 25. Levens gets the call. Touchdown, Green Bay.
Big guy McIntyre, the offensive left guard, had the pulling assignment to pull out and kick out. You'll see him pop up in the middle of your screen, gets his pads down there, knocks the man outside, up inside for the touchdown. Ed, you're Bennett. No, that's Dorsey.
Levens is a rookie from Georgia Tech. He'll be utilized as their third running back here today as Chris Jackie pounds in the extra point. An impressive opening drive for Green Bay. 76 yards, 14 plays. When we come back, it'll be Detroit's turn. To return kickoffs. One of the more dangerous kick return men in the last decade in the National Football League. 9-year veteran out of Purdue. He'll try to give Barry Sanders and the Detroit offense some decent field position. And now let's see what Jackie can do with the kickoff. Can he take it deep? Gray, to give you an idea, in the NFL, they used to stand back by the goal line. He's out by the 10-yard line now, set to return this kickoff.
They game plan wise, they want to kick it high and to the right and make him run for the football.
Which is exactly what they do. He tracks it down at the 8-yard line and comes back the other way. Gray looking for daylight, has got it. 30, 35, and out of bounds. The Lions will take over at the 37-yard line.
Just didn't kick the ball high enough. A little too flat, but he got it to the right.
Dave Craig became the starting quarterback by accident in a game against Green Bay in Milwaukee. It was devastating. Packers went up 31-7, and Craig rallied them all the way. Lost it by 8 through an incomplete pass on 4th down in the end zone. 38-30. Now Craig will start from the get-go in Green Bay. This is Barry Sanders. No surprise who gets it on the first call. And beautiful defense as they string it out with Coons, the final linebacker.
Reggie White was lined up over on the right side. Detroit likes to run to the left. There's where they like to run. And Reggie is lining up over on the defensive right, offensive left. Broke up the play.
Now there's Barry, number 20, the key guy. And the offensive line. Of course, Lomas Brown will tell you, you never know where number 20 is going to cut off a block. 2nd down and 12. Harriman motioned back outside by Craig. Barry looking for daylight, squeezes through a hole. But it's going to put them in 3rd and long with George Teague making the stop. And defensively for the Packers, Reggie White, number 92, the great veteran Sean Jones could be a key man today for the Packers. And in this 4-3 system, Bryce Popp had a field day against the Lions in Milwaukee. The defensive backs, and wouldn't they love, Dick, to get Herman more over on Terrell Buckley, as Boomer Esiason pointed out in the pregame show.
They aren't going to leave him like that, Brent. If Buckley's on him, they're going to roll the coverage to him.
Craig hands it to Barry for the 3rd straight time, and the Packers eat him up. Don Davey, 4-year pro out of Wisconsin, is in there. Reggie White is in there. A 6-yard loss, and it's 3 and out for Detroit, and Greg Montgomery trots onto the field.
They're moving Reggie White around to a different position all the time. Here he is now on a power rush. He just destroys it. This is third alignment position he's taken. You see that power rush? Nobody can stop him if he just takes off and turns it loose.
Robert Brooks will return punts. Standing back at the Packers' 21-yard line. He runs up on Montgomery's punt, has it at the 28-yard line, and sprints to the right. Out to the 36-yard line and out of bounds. The Packers lead at 7-0 as we take a break. Last day of 1994, Green Bay, Wisconsin. The weather just perfect for a playoff football game. As a matter of fact, several of the Packers came over to us yesterday and said, it should rain a little snow in here. It might be easier to deal with number 20. Now it's 1st and 10. Brett Favre and Green Bay lead it 7-0. And with that lead, they'll bring Edgar Bennett. And there's a penalty flag thrown by the umpire as he slipped through a hole. And now our crew, Gary Lane, is our referee today, and Al Conway was the umpire who threw that penalty flag.
Face mask, 5 yards, number 91. 5 yards from the end of the run, still first down.
Well, tonight, ring in the new year on ABC at 8, 7 Central. The ABC Family Movie invites your family to a wedding Flintstone style. A yabba dabba doo, followed by the commish. Stick around then for ABC's annual New Year's Rockin' Eve, all tonight on ABC. So a first down with Edgar Bennett and the penalty tacked on. And the ball is out to the Green Bay 46-yard line. In the early going, the storyline, the Packers without Sterling Sharp have taken control, but it is very early. Far right over the middle. Bennett again. Bennett rages to the 36-yard line, and Dick, the Lion defense has to do something. Much too passive against the Packers right now.
This is their style of defense because they felt they're forced to play this style of defense. They're afraid of playing tight coverage because of mismatches. Right now, they're going to have to change up. Come with some blitzes, take some chances on some picks. They've got to stop him. If this game gets out of reach, Barry Sanders is not a factor offensively.
17 more yards. Favre to Bennett. Now Reggie Cobb comes in, and Bennett offsets to the right. Cobb steps behind the left side of the line to the 33-yard line, with Chris Spielman making the stop for the Lions.
I asked Wayne Fonts the other day in his office about his defense and his football team in general. What does he have to do to keep it improving? He says, our problem right now, Dick, is we're not quite fast enough on defense, and it is glaring on our coverage team, kickoff and punt coverage teams. We're just not quite fast enough, and it shows against a quick football team.
33-yard line.
2nd and 7 for Favre and the Packers. Green Bay leads Detroit 7-0 here. 3:20 to go, the opening quarter.
He's audibling here.
And he will throw on the move. Brooks drops it. Penalty flag is thrown by the referee.
They don't audible a lot, Brent. About 70 times this whole year have they audible an offensive play on the line of scrimmage.
Legal child block, unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 34, number 68.
That's interesting. Edgar Bennett had moved over into a blocking position, and when he attacked the left side of the defensive formation, he threw his body in too low on that block, and he was picked up on it.
Yeah, see, the defender was engaged by another offensive blocker, and you just can't do that. Edgar Bennett is really a super young man. They really like him here. Lee Remmel, the information director here, has been here forever. I think, you know, and he said he is the finest young man he thinks that's ever come through here in terms of making a contribution in every possible way to the Green Bay Packer organization.
Well, now they make a couple of lineup adjustments, and Charles Jordan, number 80, checks in. They need an extra wide receiver in this package because it's 2nd and 22, and now they have to go with their 3-wide package and see what they can do.
They have to be alert for screens now. They're a great screen team.
They flare one over to Bennett, and he's down at the 45-yard line, and that penalty really slowed up this drive, didn't it? Because now it's going to be 3rd and long for Favre and the Packers.
You know, Mike Holmgren made the comment yesterday that the one thing he was going to make sure he doesn't do, he's not going to get greedy. If they have success early, he's going to remain patient and not try to get too aggressive and make a mistake.
And 20 for Favre and the Packers. Rule change. Look how those offensive tackles are allowed now to back a little bit further off that scrimmage line. See how it gives him a little bit of leverage. He tried to set it in the middle that time, and oh baby, was that almost a huge play for Robert Porcher.
He wanted to run the middle screen, which you don't see very often. It's a very, very good play. I watched them run it on the practice field on Thursday. It looked better on the field.
Get better at it.
Porcher was released a little too soon. See, they didn't take enough of him. McIntyre's got to square off him and hold him just a little bit longer.
Now it'll be the Packers punting.
Nice punt. Nice. Boy, that's a dandy.
And Gray with a bluffing the fair catch, and it is down inside the 10-yard line. Craig Hendricks punt down inside the 10-yard line, a 38-yarder. And for 10 minutes and 13 seconds of this quarter, Green Bay has had the ball. Now Sanders and the Detroit offense go back to work. Not good field position. They're buried back inside their 10-yard line after the Hendrick punt. And Craig on first down looks for Herman Moore, and he's got a first down just like that at the 24-yard line with Doug Evans covering.
See, Reggie White now is playing over on the right side, what they call a 3 technique, outside the guard. Right here, see, coming off the ball on Sean Bowens, a good power rush, a factor every play. He doesn't always make the play, but he wrecks many plays.
Well, it was interesting that time, Dick, how easily they got the ball to Herman Moore. There's great respect in that defensive backfield of the Packers, and Moore was able to get himself a lot of daylight. Now they come back with Barry Sanders, and they seem to have him covered up pretty well with our friend John Yurkovich making the stop.
Fritz Shermer's game plan, the defensive coordinator for Green Bay, is to keep Doug Evans, number 33, on Herman Moore. He's 6'1" tall. If they have Buckley on Herman Moore, they will roll the coverage to Buckley or play 2 deep zone and roll it up completely.
Yurkovich spends 2 days politicking you, and you pass up an opportunity. When I say our friend, you talk about the... You can't do that to my man, Yurkovich. 2nd down and 9 now. Matthews is the motion receiver for Craig, and Craig snaps one off complete at the 30-yard line, and that time he went to the tight end, Rodney Holman.
And boy, has he caught a lot of footballs in his career. 360, the 3rd all-time tight end. He's an old man. Coached him in an all-star game, 1981.
Dick, I want to talk about Dave Craig. I would call him a survivor. Seattle, Kansas City. Now here he is in a playoff game. He's done a very, very solid job for Detroit. What about him?
The big thing he does, he has total awareness. He's a good leader. He throws the quick time passing game extremely well. They're blitzing him inside.
Bobbled and almost caught by Holman. That would have been a huge.
Yeah, and they were throwing the ball to Herman Moore, and it ends up getting batted to Holman. I've seen that happen before. Almost worked out, but they put the pressure up inside. If you're going to pressure David Craig, pressure him up inside, because he's not the biggest guy in the world. They bring Paup right up in his face. He's got to throw around him or over. Tough to do.
There's Greg Montgomery back to punt again for the Lions, and Brooks set to return for the Packers. These 2 teams in the past this year have played in the 60s. This game doesn't have that appearance yet. Here's Brooks from the 31. Slips a tackle and out to the 37 with a penalty flag. A penalty flag has been thrown on the return. We have a penalty down here.
37-yard line.
referee there was a quarterback. Played at Missouri, and then later was at the Rams when I was an assistant coach there as a backup.
Illegal block in the back. Number 51 on the return team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
So the ball will be put back on the 17-yard line when we return. Green Bay leading Detroit 7-0. Dick, what about the offensive line for the Packers and the addition of McIntyre?
Well, I'll tell you this, Brent, in watching him play last year and then coming here watching him this year in preparation, it's a much better offensive line all the way across. Tom Lavatt, the offensive line coach, has done an awfully nice job with these guys. Plus, for the most part, they've stayed healthy, all except McIntyre missed a couple games.
First down. This is Bennett sweeping to the right. And he'll be run out of bounds on that far side.
I'll tell you this. Broderick Thomas over there at that linebacker position better get some lead in his rear end and start holding up the point. He's getting knocked off the ball. That outside backer cannot allow that to happen. They didn't make a lot of plays or a lot of yards, but he cannot get knocked off the ball.
That legal?
What's that?
I mean, I knew jockeys could put lead in the...
well,
that's okay for a linebacker.
I caught myself, but I really should have been more descriptive.
Oh, really? First quarter has come to an end. Green Bay leads it by a touchdown, and we'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. This will be a 2nd and 7 for Favre and the Packers. They have been very effective at controlling the clock, moving the ball in terms of total yardage. But still in all, the Lions have to feel very good about the fact that they're only down by 7 right now. They're hanging right with them. Let's see what kind of a second quarter the Lion defense can turn in. Slips a tackle out to the 27-yard line, and let's go down to our colleague Leslie Visser. Leslie.
Brent, Sterling Sharpe has been following the line of scrimmage. Brett Favre says he's another quarterback on the team, and he has been signaling in the formations. He told me, though, he will only offer encouragement on the sideline. Brent.
You know, he was doing that the same thing on the practice field the other day when the offensive team was out on the field running their play. He'd go to the backup receivers and question and make sure they were concentrating on what was going on.
Coach, here's a 3rd and 1, and a timeout has been called by the Detroit defense, and that's their first charge timeout. Not a good time to take it, but they do nevertheless. Quarterbacks. Do you think either of these teams is ready to play with Dallas and San Francisco in an NFC playoff game? And most of you don't think so either. That's interesting. Well, it's 3rd and 1. This team right here that we're looking at, Green Bay, might be about a year away, though, from stepping it up a notch. 3rd and 1 right now. Bennett.
Nice job by Johnson. He really jumped that one, Brent, keying that one back. He really scraped off into the play. Well done. He's got all kinds of experience. 32 years old, 9 years in the leagues, made a ton of tackles, made a critical one right there. You'll see him scrape off. He just attacks. Running back starts to his left. Linebacker will fill coming from the right. He starts to cut back, and here he will appear right now.
So they'll bring the chains out and measure again. Was lobbying for it down there. Just, they said, come on, let me take another look here.
He's got to go ahead and punt the football.
Yeah, you can't risk turning it over down there with a 7-point lead. So Holmgren sends Hendrick. Brett Favre's a competitor, though. He battled for it to the end, didn't he? And Mel Gray back deep again. And the Lions would like to take over now. Well, up around their own 40 or 45. They would love to give the offense a chance to open it up. Craig played with a little more confidence on his last series.
I
guess if Fonts and that staff could be anything, you could call them survivors.
Resilient.
Yeah.
Good punt.
Beautiful.
Good hang time.
Beautiful. Great.
Nice job by
Make a catch to save a few yards with it there. It's a 48-yard punt by the one-time Notre Dame star. It was a good one. Peter Hurd has just sent me word that this ties a record. Barry Sanders, 4 carries, no yards. First and 10. And Barry's seeing if he can turn in a better second quarter now. And that offensive line can get him some daylight. The defensive scheme has worked very well. Craig is going to throw on first down. Deflected, incomplete, and he had his wide receiver, Brett Perriman, wide open.
You can see by these stats, it's a Green Bay football game, and the stats indicate a score beyond 7-0. They're allowing Detroit to stay in the football game. When you dominate it like this, 10 minutes time of possession, 107-20 total yards like that, you should be further ahead than 7-0.
Here is a change with Detroit. They're going to give Barry a blocking back and send Lynch in on 2nd and 10 and work it out of the eye.
This is a play action formation a lot of times for them, Brent, and then a I lead play.
They lead Barry, and the defense was ready again. Bryce Pop, number 95, makes the tackle.
Fritz Shurmur's defensive game plan against Barry is to stay square with his front 7, but penetrate, get up field, and force a flat cutback. Don't let him cut back and gain ground at the same time. He's not emphasizing coming to balance. He's emphasizing attacking Barry Sanders all the time. Attacking. Don't sit and let him come to you. Make him go and keep him on your inside shoulder when you're in a contained position.
You would think that the Lions would have to consider throwing Barry the ball out of that backfield. 3rd and 14. Craig uses him as a receiver, and it's deflected. They wanted Barry that time, but it was broken up by Sean Jones, number 96, who came rolling in and busted up that pass play.
Boy, Fritz Shurmur, the defensive coordinator, is very pleased with Sean Jones. He says he's worked very, very hard to improve his run defense within their scheme as well. It's known fact that he's a fine pass rusher, 99 sacks in his career, so they know he can rush, but he's done a much better job against the run this year, or at least improved.
The control of Sanders is becoming a huge story in this game. Hendricks punt also, and 3 and out, and the Packers are going to gain some field position. And into a slight breeze, not as successful, and Brooks makes the catch at the 48-yard line. A 32-yard punt for Montgomery, and the Packers gain on that exchange. Sports coverage of the NFC wildcard playoff game is brought to you by Bud Bowl 7. This year it's going to be a whole new ball game. And Delta Airlines. You'll love the way we fly. Barry Sanders has been hogtied in Lambeau Field. 5 carries and now -4. He hit him, remember, for 188 yards. This same defense on a carpet over in Pontiac early in the year. Rushed for over 50 in Milwaukee, and now Favre being hotly pursued. They tried to set the screen, and the Lions are all over it. If they came in here determined to do anything, it was to bust up the screen, and Chris Spielman was the ringleader along with Kelvin Pritchett.
Green Bay has the reputation of being one of the best screen teams in the National Football League, and the reason they tie the screens in with patterns that are tough to defense, patterns that they've already been successful with, patterns that require linebackers to cover receivers and distract them from covering the screen man. And that time, though, Spielman was all over that. There's Herb Patera, the coordinator.
Terry Mickens, number 88, has checked in as a wide receiver in this package. He dislocated his index finger in practice the other day. Favre, center field, caught inside the 25-yard line by Chimura, the tight end. They got it down deep in center field. Shades of Jackie Harris. This is something the Packers were hoping to discover with Chimura, who makes a fine catch.
See, they went empty. No back in the backfield. It's something they don't do very often. He had the option of throwing the delay underneath or going to the tight end down the seam in that zone defense right there. You've got to stop the tight end from getting down there quickly right on the line of scrimmage. See, he got off cleanly. Spielman's running him with right there, but he looks back, and as he looks back, Chmura just runs away from him.
Now 1st and 10 at the 22. Bennett slams his way for a couple of yards before Mark Spindler, and friends in the middle of that defensive line bring him down.
That was a real nice job of defense by Robert Porcher over there on that side, Brent. He was the post right there. He just stacked it all up and then got help from the other people. That was good defensive line play by Robert. See, when you allow a tight end in those zone coverages to get off the line of scrimmage cleanly, that is tough on the linebacker. That defensive end should take a big piece of it, but don't let him get off cleanly. At least that's what I think.
Cobb and Bennett. Chmura, the tight end, switches over to the right side of the formation. And Favre firing to the end zone, incomplete. Brooks was working underneath, and Favre virtually threw that one away in the back of the end zone.
He is so much better a quarterback this year than last year. Last year, 19 touchdowns, 24 pass interceptions. This year, he's turned it around, 33 touchdowns, 14 pass interceptions. Why? Well, they say he's more mature, he's more experienced. I think they've also done a better job of coaching him and giving him better definition of everything they're doing with the ball. You have to salute Steve Mariucci, who coaches him.
3rd and 8. Favre in trouble. Throws it away. Now, was he considered to be outside of the pocket on that? There was no receiver working in that area. He had dropped right straight back. There are no penalty flags down, and the field goal unit trots onto the field.
Well, that was a real good defensive series after that first big seam pass to Chmura right there to stop him down there. Possibly they should have come after him, running the ball a little bit more. That 3 straight passes in a row, not effective for him.
So Chris Jackie will attempt the field goal with his punter, Craig Hentrick. Holding. He'll put the ball down, and this will be a 37-yard field goal attempt. A little slight breeze at their back.
He's 4 for 6 this year kicking from this distance. All kinds of whistles down there.
So a big miss after the Favre to Chmura play, and the Lion defense with its best stand of the game so far. And even though Green Bay has completely dominated the game, the Lions only trail it by 7 points.
It all looked good from here. He's trying to get that off in 1.2 seconds. He gets it down nicely, turns the laces away. Bang, he just hooks it there off to the left.
And so now it is Craig and the Lions back on offense here with 10:22 to go in the first half. Craig, Harriman out of bounds at the 34-yard line. The defender was Terrell Buckley. And a reminder of Monday, a big bowl day here on ABC. The CompUSA Florida Citrus Bowl in Orlando, Alabama and Ohio State. That starts it off for us. That's at 1 Eastern time. Then Penn State. They'll make their argument for a national championship against Oregon in the Rose Bowl, the USF&G Insurance Sugar Bowl, Florida State and Florida down in New Orleans. 2nd down and 2. And Sanders can't even get to the line of scrimmage.
That's Reggie White again. See, he is attacking the offensive line. He's coming off the ball. They say he gets doubled so much that he has developed a tendency to look for the double team. He is not looking for anything right now. 92, left center of your screen. Wham! He's coming off hard on that free technique. Gets underneath Lomas Brown. Penetration. No way a running back can make an inch with that kind of penetration.
Well, Dick, when your great running back is having a problem, what kind of play works against that defense?
They have some traps in that they haven't run with him. They're also going to have to throw him the ball out strong side.
Third down, broken up beautifully by Buckley. Big defensive play by the defensive back for the Packers.
You notice how all the players rally around Buckley? I think the people here, the players, feel that he's been picked on a little bit. And they are rally around him, and they stick by him. And he told me about this yesterday. He says, I can cover. I've been beaten twice for touchdowns this year. I can cover tall guys. I can cover short guys. He said, but what I really appreciate is the support my teammates have given me when people are getting on me.
Been a busy Saturday for Greg Montgomery. Back in there to punt again. Here's a good one. Robert Brooks is the return man. Brooks going to let this one go. And it takes a little bit of a Detroit roll inside the 35.
The other thing Detroit's going to have to do with their offense, when they're seeing a lot of double zone, they're going to have to work the tight end and those people down inside that double zone.
Big day so far for 92. Last year's playoff game between these two teams, trading punches back and forth. One of them off the canvas, the other had come back. Folks, this game's nothing like it. I mean, this is dull by comparison with that one last year, isn't it? It's 7-0. Packers lead the Lions. Defense is the name of the game. Barry Sanders has been swallowed. Now it's Brett Favre and the Packers. They scored on their first possession. They've been unable to get into the end zone since. 1st and 10, and Favre on first down. Can't find a man open. Now he goes deep down the left sideline. Bumping. Oh, was there bumping? Incomplete. Are they going to rule it was an uncatchable ball? You talk about contact down there. It was Massey and Charles Jordan hooking up.
They backed into each other. He actually knocked him down. Now see, watch them turning back. Here comes Massey. He just backs into him now, and he just knocks him down. Woo!
Now, oh, that was catchable. How can you not throw the flag on that? Excuse me?
Is that incidental contact?
These guys are close to the game.
That's a knockdown. 3
I don't want
points.
to second guess my guys. It's okay. But that one did look catchable. 2nd down and 10. .8:57 in the first half. Favre complete. Penalty flag is thrown by the referee.
There on the reception.
Let's go down to Leslie.
Brent, before the game today, Barry Sanders told me he was wearing his normal grass shoes. Those are half-inch cleats. He said he didn't think it would be a problem, but clearly he's only got -5 yards. Maybe it's the shoes.
And then again, maybe it's 92. I don't know.
Maybe he's not just getting enough help. He's one of the few people that can run the ball efficiently without a lot of blocking, but you've got to get some blocking.
Now, McIntyre reacted vehemently against this call after it was made. The Packers have been penalized back inside of the 25-yard line. And now it is 2nd and 20 after the penalty. Bennett into the backfield for Green Bay. Bennett switches over there to the right side of the formation behind Chimura. Favre's going to try it again, this time down the middle. Brooks. I'll tell you what Green Bay is finding here, Dick, that they can bust receivers deep on this defensive backfield.
Well, this is what they wanted to do because they haven't been doing it in the games they played against Detroit prior to this one. The Detroit defenders were squatting on them, so they decided in game plan we are going deep, either down the hole or down the sideline, and either direct deep patterns or double move patterns, slant and go, hook and go.
Now, Favre at one time was 11 of 13. He's now missed his last 4. So there are his his current numbers. Facing a 3rd and 20. Here comes pass 18, you would imagine. Off a play fake. Favre on the run, throws high. Almost a great catch on that far side by Anthony Morgan.
You can see that Favre can throw the ball at any type of delivery. He doesn't have to be set up. What he's done this year in contrast to last year, when he got in those situations, scramble situations, Brent, he was throwing interceptions. This year he's been making plays.
Next, it's the AFC wild card game here on ABC. What a matchup on paper, huh? Joe Montana, Dan Marino. Well, that'd be good. Down in Miami, when we went to Frank Gifford earlier, the weather looked very, very good down there. Now the punt by Hintrick.
That's a little bit low. Get to him quick.
Gray from the 34. Slips a couple of tackles. Gray across midfield, and maybe that'll give the Lions a spark. A 17-yard return.
He is something, you know, people keep talking about him as a kickoff returner, but he's almost as good as a punt returner. All-time yards, I mean, he is spectacular. And he attacks people, Brent. He runs right at him. He doesn't make drastic cuts. He'll take this ball. He'll get a block here to the right side of the screen. He gets a little nudge right there. Now watch him right up the middle of there. He attacks upfield again. A courageous, courageous football player.
Dick, they're going to try Eric Lynch again in that backfield along with Berry.
He's a lead blocker type guy, Brent, when he's in there. Also a play-action blocker.
Wide receiver. End around is Perriman. Perriman's being chased to the right side. Well defended. Doug Evans makes the stop.
The guy that got there deep was Don Davey, the 4th defensive lineman, playing defensive end out there on the left side. Good discipline. He got upfield and forced it back to the inside. Don Davey is not going to make many mistakes. There's 4 possessions. Almost a waste of time
so far. But again, remember, if you're a Lion fan, you're very happy by the fact that it's only a 7-point game. A lot of times, that's the way the NFL unfolds, and then suddenly, bang, you finally find that big play that the Lions hold for. Craig at the 41-yard line. Reggie White doing a number.
Reggie White got there. They were holding him so bad he couldn't get out of the grip. Reggie White, middle of your screen on Bowens, number 66. Look at him. They got him open. Now watch him try to get rid of it. He can't. They got. Look at the hole. Look at the hole. They spin him around. He finally fights out the hole. Forces Craig up inside.
3rd and 18. Craig under pressure again, and he's sacked. Bryce Pop. And the ball came scrambling out of there. The Lions finally fell on it, and Montgomery in to punt.
This defense is absolutely destroying the offensive line of Detroit right now. They're coming off the ball. They're attacking people. They're getting upfield. They're playing with great intensity. They just don't quit coming. Excellent play there by Bryce Pop. He's on his knees crawling for the guy. He wants to win.
So Holman picked up the fumble, and Montgomery punting for the Lions.
Pushing that one back.
Brooks lets it hit. And it is down 31-yard line. The Lions are protesting that the ball struck a Packer, and they're again coming up next, Kansas City and Miami, the AFC wild card playoff game here on ABC. Montana Marino, they squared off once in the Super Bowl, didn't they, when Joe was out in San Francisco playing for the 49ers. Marino has never won a Super Bowl. So let's take a closer look here, Dick.
Ball's bouncing. Right now there aren't any green jerseys around there. No, he gets by it. Doesn't look like it touched him.
Well, I'm not sure that that's a definitive angle. Wasn't the ball in front of the So it is 1st and 10. Favre hands it off, and Cobb is slammed at the 29-yard line by Spindler. Let's take another look at this angle.
That's Corey Harris, number 30, right there. See, it goes underneath his elbow, beyond his hip. It does not touch him.
Yep. So it's a good non-call in that situation, and it's 2nd down and 11.
Mark Spindler just made an excellent defensive play from his no guard position. Really good play.
Favre steps away from the pressure. The receivers were well covered. Throws back into the middle to Chmura to midfield, and it's a 1st down.
See, what they did is they doubled up both wide receivers. He's forced out of the pocket. They double up both wide receivers. Right here. The safety's going to be here and here. He's forced out of that pocket. He works back inside to Chmura. Chmura's in the middle of your screen working down the hole. That's where you ought to go against that coverage. He's on a linebacker. Crease it right there. See, he's right here now, one-on-one on a linebacker. Good job of working away from the defender. Good job of locating the receiver.
Packers at midfield on 1st down. Here's the pitch to Bennett. Bennett for 3 more yards, and Spindler again.
Detroit's defense, you've got to give them credit. These guys are battling. They're doing a good job. They just got to get something going offensively. Get a takeover here right now, take away something like that would help them. Patera calling the defensive signals. 2 might be cover 2. They're playing a lot more zone now, as I said earlier, because they're concerned with the one-on-one matchups and they're concerned with pick-type patterns.
End around. Brooks brings it around the left side. They block Massey, and Brooks finally out of bounds inside the 35-yard line. The key was they were able to get over and block Massey that time to free the way. Harry Galbraith, the guard, got out on that play.
The key to that is just what you said, Brent. They had a good block at the point of it. First, they have a good block right here, and then Galbraith comes around and gets a cleanup block on the reverse. Good job at the point. Tight end does a good job of holding up. Galbraith comes around there. Galbraith having his best year right there, does a good job of springing it for the 1st down.
That is 10 1st downs for the Packers, and only 1 in this game for the Lions. Packers inside the 35. Bobble goes back, and it's incomplete.
You know, he wanted to try to go to an out move by the tight end, because I saw this on the practice field on Thursday. They covered it. He went to his 2nd receiver. It was bobbled. But he wanted to try to get deep down the hole. Here's another look at it from the other side. See, he didn't want to go there. The defense forced him to go there. Good job of coverage.
Jordan checks into the game for the Packers. This will be a 3-wide formation set.
He's a speed guy, Jordan is, but he can fly.
2nd down and 10. They bring Pickens in motion. They'll run out of this formation with Reggie Cobb, and they only gain a couple of yards. This is going to be 3rd and long now for the Packers.
Well, they've been an excellent 3rd down conversion team against the Packers this year. They converted 58% in the 2 games coming into this one. 3rd and 9 is really long. It's tough to do it, but they have been very efficient. Looking at total yards, look at this, 183 to 9, and you're up 7 to nothing. Scary. They're leaving them in the game.
Now Favre gets one-on-one, and Massey had his back to the play. They were trying to pick up Jordan, who could not get himself in position to make that catch. And here comes Hendrick. The Packers are not even close enough. Now, wait a minute, Jackie's. Let me correct myself, because obviously Hendrick was coming onto the field. He's the holder along with me, the punter. And here comes Jackie. They are going to try a long field goal after missing a shorter one here earlier in the game.
See, they can feel if they miss it, even though it comes back to the spot. So far, Detroit hasn't done anything. We can take a chance. That's got to be their thinking. If Detroit had been moving the ball, I think they'd go ahead and punt it.
It's going to be a 51-yard attempt.
He's 1 for 3 this year.
Good. He comes back and nails a 51-yarder. Who can understand kickers, folks? Who can get inside the mind of a kicker?
You know
They're
what
unbelievable, these
Mike
guys.
Holmgren says to him, kick it between the goalposts. He says, that's how I coach him. Kick it between the goalposts. Good coaching, Holmgren. Good job. He listened to you this time. I used to think all you should do with a kicker is tape an aspirin in his head and let him play. You know, behind me, sick. They drive you crazy.
2:56, and the Packers are up by 10, dominating the game here in Green Bay. Of course, the story, you've read it all week, you've heard it on the radio. They have never, ever lost a playoff game in Green Bay. Now, 82, that was their last win here. That was a strike year. Before that, you go back to the Ice Bowl. Vince Lombardi and Bart Starr. They're tough in this environment. You would have thought, though, the one thing that surprises me, I've got to tell you, Dick, I'm really surprised that Barry Sanders has been so bottled up with the weather conditions being ideal, and Vince Lombardi would have applauded the way the defense is playing against number 20.
Yeah, the offensive line is just not coming off the ball regardless. They're just getting whipped at the point of attack. Not every guy each snap, but somebody's breaking down on each snap. It's the only way you can keep him to minus yardage.
Will kick to Belgrade.
You know, both head coaches told me that change in the kickoff rule in the team has affected their kickers, not only as kickoff people, but as field goal kickers. And he said that both of them have been affected. Mike Holmgren told me that. Wayne Fontes told me that.
1-inch tee, and the ball by Gray is fielded at the 15-yard line. Lions looking for a play, and Gray's got himself at least a little alley, and he gets out to the 36-yard line before he's run out of bounds by Tim Houck, a young man from Big Timber, Montana, who played at the University of Montana. His brother was an assistant with your good friend, Coach Donahue, out at UCLA a few years back.
In talking to David Craig about the game plan, the one thing he was concerned about with Green Bay is you can't audible much because they disguise their coverage package to the point that you can't check off on the line of scrimmage and change to a better pattern.
Well, let's see what Detroit can come up with here.
They're showing double zone look right now.
Only one first down.
They back out.
And this time throwing underneath that coverage, and at least they get some positive yards. They get the ball into Aubrey Matthews' hands on first down.
Right there was an example of what David Craig was talking about. Green Bay showed a double zone look, and right prior to the snap, they rolled out of the double zone look to a totally different coverage. That's why it's tough to audible.
Reggie White, who has been a monster, gets set at right tackle. Closing in on Craig that time again, and it's just no contest against Reggie.
They've got to get Sean Bowen some help. The trouble is he's playing what they call a 3 technique, outside shoulder of the guard. The center can't get over there fast enough to help him. He's just taken Bowens right on back into the quarterback's lap. A 3-step drop. He's only about 4 yards deep, Brent, and Reggie's there almost as quick as the quarterback.
Now, some of the folks would want to know, how do you get him help in that situation?
Well, one thing, the guard has got to set firmer, maybe change up with a cut technique. We'll see what they do to Bowens now. They can bring the tackle down if they have a tight end to help on the outside, but they don't now because they're sending him in motion.
Reggie coming. Craig has to go on the move. A diving catch for Perriman. And Perriman is finally thrown down at the 10-yard line by Buckley. But what a grab by number 80. A 46-yard gain.
Reggie White did his part. David Craig did his part. Somebody blew the coverage. They turned a man loose.
Watch this grab by Perriman. This is the first big play for the Lions offense. Can they build off it?
One right here. Buckley has him all alone. Now he stops. He looks back into the backfield. Thinks they're going to get sacked. He loses the receiver who takes off on downfield. Big play.
46 yards, Dick, and prior to that, the Lions had only 14 total yards. Now it is 1st and 10. Detroit threatening, and Craig on 1st down, batted down, 2nd and 10.
That good, tough inside rush, tall defensive lineman. Boy, you take a 6'5" guy, he raises his hands up. You got a quarterback at 6'1", and not a real high delivery. It's tough to get it over the top of people. You've got to find a throwing lane in between those pass rushers and offensive linemen, especially on those low crossing patterns.
Now you can see Reggie switching positions. He goes now to the left side of the defense. And Craig is going to run Berry, and he's cut off and buried at the 13. Bryce Pop.
See, they're doing a good job defensively of getting upfield, attacking him all the time, and not using the old coaching term, come to balance. What they told me at Green Bay is if you come to balance, Berry comes to balance, you lose. That's so, and it's working so far. Wayne Fontes says, I can't believe it. Wayne Fontes is really proud of himself. He's lost 20 pounds. Right now he's losing about 20 pounds his first half.
Reminder, Dick, that coming up on the Lexus halftime report, John Saunders and Boomer Esiason will have first half highlights. And now Michaels will have a preview of today's AFC wildcard game between Kansas City and Miami. So that's ahead of us on the Lexus halftime report. We have 1:43 remaining until halftime. This will be a 3rd and 12 for the Lions. The Lions trail the Packers 10-0. Well, what does Detroit like to do down here, Coach? Inside the 20-yard line.
They've got to get the ball to Herman Moore. They've got to try that. Tom Moore, the quarterback coach, was talking to him over there on the sideline. Probably try to get in a formation with 3 receivers one side and get Herman Moore the other way and try to get him the football. He's their touchdown maker.
It's hard to believe that he has only 1 catch as he goes out now to the right side of the formation. Evans is locked up with him over there on that side.
It looks like he's going to get safety help.
Craig glances back, incomplete. He tried to look off by looking to the left, came back late to Aubrey Matthews, and it was not all that well thrown. And now it will be Jason Hanson trotting onto the field. He will attempt the field goal as the Lions want to get something on the scoreboard before the half.
See, they're not allowing David to set up. I mean, he gets back, he gets his drop, he sets up for a second, and the rush is there, and he's got to move right now. That breaks his concentration on what's happening downfield. Therefore, he's not throwing accurately.
Montgomery is going to put this one down around the 20. It will be a 30-yard attempt for Hanson.
He's 7 for 7 this year at this distance. He doesn't miss many.
He struggled a little bit for the left hash mark in pregame warm-ups. But this time, he missed again. And it's that hash mark, and it's that spot prior to the game where Jason Hanson was troubled for about 15 minutes. When he went over to the right hash mark, he was much more accurate. Then when they brought him back another 10 yards, he was right on the money. And the Lions cannot believe it.
Everything appears to be properly done. Good execution there. They get it down. He gets it off in time. Just doesn't kick it accurately. Again, Wayne Fontes told me the new kickoff rule has really affected this guy. He's 0 for 5 outside 50 yards. He came into the season a very strong kicker. Inside the 40, he had missed one. I mean, he'd had unbelievable record. There he misses one.
Now a minute and a half to go. The Pack up by 10. And the handoff is to the running back, and they now prefer just to run that clock down as they work behind the left side of the offensive line. They have used Edgar Bennett as both a receiver and a ball carrier. Hanson and Montgomery. And Hanson said, you know, we couldn't do it in the pregame warm-ups, and I do it again. And it was from the left hash mark. As soon as Montgomery and Hanson went to the right, there was no trouble.
Robert Forche, I mentioned his name before, but the tackle in there is playing real well. I mean, he just stuffed that football play.
Final minute, first half. Packers are going to take a lead into the locker room here at Lambeau Field. They'll use the minute. 4 on the clock.
They take a lead and they run a lead draw. See, the Packers don't see many 30 defensive teams anymore. Detroit's one of the few defensive teams left playing the nose guard on the center, what they call a 2-gap technique, and it's a little bit different for them now. Where in the past that used to see it maybe of 16 games, you see it 12 games.
I just think that the most amazing statistic from the first half is not the fact that the Packers lead it, but I think Barry Sanders' totals here in the first half are something that no one would have predicted. Folks, at the half, Barry Sanders, 7 carries for -6 yards. It's 10-0, the Packers. John Saunders will be back after a word from our ABC stations.